What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, and I'm back with another early preview and predictions video, man. I'm really excited for this card. UFC Fight Night Blaydes versus Espinel takes place 4 a.m. in New Zealand on a Sunday morning, so I'm really looking forward to getting up at 4 a.m. to watch the fights. The last UFC on ABC card started at 3 a.m. My time, so at least I get 1 hour extra sleep for that one there. But really looking forward to this London card. A lot of UK and surrounding areas of fighters taking place on the fight card, so I'm really excited for it. But as always, this video is pretty much my initial predictions, my first kind of time looking at the card with you guys. I'm giving my early picks, my early predictions, not really breaking down the fights too much because I do all of my research in the next couple of days. So in about 48 hours time after this was uploaded, you will see you'll see the full card preview and predictions video, man. I'm really excited for it. But let's just get straight into the picks, man. Hopefully I didn't waste too much time on that intro. Ludovic Klein versus Mason Jones. Very similar situation for Mason Jones as he had in his David Onama fight. David Onama took the fight on short notice, coming up a weight class. On this situation here, Ludovic Klein started his UFC run at 145. He moved up to 155 in his last fight, and I believe he had a different opponent. And Mason Jones has stepped on short notice to fight Ludovic Klein. I think he's got about a couple of weeks notice for this one here, so he's definitely got a bit of time to cut the weight. And I think that Mason Jones is going to win the fight. I do believe he's going to win by decision. He was absolutely destroying Alan Patrick before the eye poke, and Alan Patrick wanted a way out, let's be honest. He beat David Onama, but that was a very, very competitive fight. But David Onama has proven to be a pretty good prospect. But he did lose to Mike Davis in his debut. Ludovic Klein, coming as a very hot prospect. I believe he's 16-2 at the time that he was signed. Beat Shane Young by KO and head kick, who's from New Zealand, so that was hard for me to watch. But after that, I knew that this guy was going to be something special. But unfortunately, he just wasn't able to put it together in 145, so he's moved up to 155. He beat Devontae Smith. I think he won that fight pretty clearly, in my opinion. And but I do think that Jones is going to win, but I'm very surprised with the amount of people sleeping on Klein, especially considering the fact that he's at the full training camp, you know what I mean? But Nicholas Dalby versus Claudio Silva, I really am quite confident in Nicholas Dalby to win this one here. Claudio Silva's almost 40 years old. In his last few fights, he's really looked like he's 40 years old. Both guys are pretty good grapplers. Claudio Silva's got really good jiu-jitsu, though. He's on a pretty good submission streak before he ran into James Krause about a year and a half ago, who's a really good coach and a really good fighter, to his credit. And Court McGee as well. He got decisioned by Claudio Silva. But Nicholas Dalby, he recently lost to Tim Means. I guess that loss isn't too bad, because Tim Means is a pretty great fighter, to be fair. But he's got a win over Daniel Rodriguez. He did lose to Jesse Ronson, but Jesse Ronson was on roids. He beat Alex Oliveira. And before that he wasn't even in the UFC. But my point is, man, I'm really confident in Nicholas Dalby. I think that Silva's just slowed down so much. He really does look like a 40-year-old fighter in there. And I can't really trust that too much. I know that Nicholas Dalby's almost 38 years old as well, but at least he's showing a lot. I would just say he just looks like the younger fighter in there, to be fair. I think that Claudio Silva really has slowed down a little bit, and I think Nicholas Dalby, hopefully, for my pick's sake, should win here. But maybe that's a fight I'll be looking into later. Mandy Bohm versus Victoria Leonardo. Mandy Bohm. I can't remember for sure, but I believe I had a YouTube channel at the time, or was uploading at the time when these fights were when she fought Ariana Lipski, and I think I picked Bohm, and then she lost to Ariana Lipski, which isn't the best look in the world, to be fair. But she's fighting Victoria Leonardo, who's had a really bad UFC run. She got KO'd or TKO'd by Manon Fiorot, and then she got TKO'd by Melissa Gardo with like a broken arm about a year ago. Really bad, 2 TKOs and 2 UFC fights just isn't a good look. But Mandy Bohm was undefeated coming into the UFC. Had a win in Bellator, but apart from that, nothing really too impressive. I guess you could almost say the same sort of thing against Victoria Leonardo as well, but it's women's MMA, man. You just can't trust it. Like, you saw Tate versus Murphy. Misha Tate, like, with crazy wrestling accolades in high school, and I believe college as well, was getting out-wrestled by Lauren Murphy, who's probably been wrestling for about 5 years. Women's MMA for you guys. I'm making Bohm decision, but my god. Alright, so here's a good one. I like Joey Herbert to win this one, and I like Joey Herbert to win by KO. I believe he's got 9 KO wins on his record. He's a really good kickboxer. If you watch his fight against Ilia Topuria, he hurt Ilia Topuria. I mean, he dropped Ilia Topuria, I believe, at the end of the first round. if my memory is correct. But then Ilia Topuria come back in the second round and knocked him out, to be fair. So I mean, good for Ilia Topuria, but Jai Herbert was looking pretty good in that fight, not gonna lie. And he's fighting Kyle Nelson, who hasn't fought for like 2 years now. His last fight, he got knocked out by Billy Quarantillo. Before that, he beat Paulo Reyes, who, at the end of his career, like he had a pretty good starting run after the Ultimate Fighter, but at the end of Paulo Reyes' UFC career, he was just a punching bag for up and coming guys in the UFC, to be honest. And I mean, to be fair, Matt Sales and Diego Ferreira aren't the worst losses in the world, but you know, he's coming up a weight class, he's coming up to lightweight, he hasn't fought for 2 years, Kyle Nelson that is. He's going to be fighting in London, where Jai Herbert is from England. He's going to have the crowd on his side. Jai Herbert's got really good kickboxing, he's got really good power as well. I believe he has it, I was going to say, he's got a KO over Kamaru, and he's got a couple of KOs on the regional scene. As I said, 9 KO wins in his career. Give me Jai Herbert to win by KO, man. I really do believe that he is going to get a finish. Now, Muhammad Mokaev. I am so high on Muhammad Mokaev. I'm so hyped for this prospect, man. I mean, John Jones, he became a champion at the age of 23, I believe, or like he was like between the age of he was 23. I think he was almost 24, sort of at the time. Muhammad Mokaev is not 22 years old right now, and I genuinely believe after this he's going to get a ranked opponent at flyweight. Maybe he's probably going to call out Tim Elliott again, potentially. Maybe he even calls out Matt Schnell, as Matt Schnell doesn't have an opponent. I know he's really trying to fight with Jeff Molina, but I feel like Muhammad Mokaev, man, if he wants to beat John Jones and get in the belt before John Jones did, I think he's going to have to start looking higher up the rankings, and that's really how highly I rate Muhammad Mokaev. I rate Muhammad Mokaev so high. I believe he's actually my favourite prospect right now, behind Caio Borralho. I just love Caio Borralho's attitude. I like the fact that he fights so often, but Muhammad Mokaev as well is definitely one of my favourite fighters on the whole roster, one of my favourite prospects. With that being said, though, Charles Johnson does actually have the potential to have an upset here. He's a little bit bigger than Mokaev. He's fought really good competition as well in the regional scene. I mean, he beat Carlos Mota to defend his LFA belt. He beat Joe Camilo, who's 7-4, and he beat Yuma Horiuchi. And I believe Yuma Horiuchi recently fought on the road to UFC, but I think he lost his fight there. He's been another undefeated guy, and he lost to Brandon Royval by decision about 4 years ago. Now, Charles Johnson, he was meant to fight on Dana White's Contender Series, but he got matched up with Muhammad Mokaev, so he skipped that Dana White's Contender Series fight, got thrown right in there with Muhammad Mokaev. But I genuinely believe Muhammad Mokaev is going to win this fight, and I genuinely believe that he's going to get a ranked opponent after this, man. I think the UFC see something in Muhammad Mokaev, and honestly, if Muhammad Mokaev can make great improvements over the next year or so, I genuinely believe he potentially does have the chance at being the youngest champion in the UFC. I mean, Muhammad Mokaev in the modern era of UFC has the best shot at beating John Jones, in my opinion. So Muhammad Mokaev, if you're looking for a guy that's going to beat John Jones's record, I feel like Muhammad Mokaev has the best chance out of anyone else. So give me Mokaev. I actually do agree. I've got Muhammad Mokaev by submission. I think like a rear naked choke is what I'm thinking. I think he will look to wrestle. Mokaev is a really good striker too, but I think he will look to wrestle with Johnson. And as Johnson is kind of standing up from against the cage, Muhammad Mokaev is going to grab that neck and choke him out. Now, Makwan Amirkhani versus Jonathan Pearce. I feel like this is going to be my Match Now pick of the week, guys. This is what happened. Okay, so I was picking Match Now all week, and my final predictions always go on my Instagram account, and I picked Suma Tajiri the night before the fights actually happened, and of course Suma Tajiri lost. The same thing happened the week before. I was on Cody Brundage the whole time, and then I changed my pick to Tresean Gore the night before the fights, and obviously Cody Brundage won. I'm gonna stick with it, man. I'm going with the underdog. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick Makwan Amirkhani to win. I feel like I'm gonna get flamed for this pick in the comments, but I think out of all of the really good underdogs on the card, I feel like maybe Makwan Amirkhani might even be my only underdog pick on the card. Maybe that spoils the rest of the card for you guys, but Makwan Amirkhani, giving him by submission, dude. He slept Mike Grunny bad by submission, but that's not necessarily just because why I'm picking him. Jonathan Pearce, recently he fought Christian Rodriguez, who took that fight on very short notice. up a weight class, might I add, and he was having very competitive grappling situations in that fight. It was a great fight, to be fair, but people were thinking, man, Christian Rodriguez is looking so good, not, oh my god, how good is Jonathan Pearce looking, and even then, Christian Rodriguez, if you look at his record, it's not actually a good 7-0, it's a pretty padded 7-0 itself. I mean, yes, he did beat Omar Morales, and that's a pretty good win. But and Kai Kamaka as well is a pretty good win as well. I know he got cut from the UFC, but he is 1-1 in Bellator since then, so it's not too bad. But the Joey Lozon fight was such a bad debut for poor JSP. But honestly, Makwan Amerikani got knocked out by Lerone Murphy. That kind of happens, you know. Kamala Kirk, that's a bad loss, to be fair. Itzan Barboza, that's not a bad loss, you know. Like, honestly, boys, I can't believe I'm doing this. I come into this video thinking I was going to pick JSP, but I'm going to do it live on the video. Give me Amerikani, just submission, so. That's it. That's probably my only underdog pick of the whole card, to be fair, at the moment anyway, and I'll obviously look into other things as well. But Nathaniel Wood versus Charles Rosa, I feel like maybe Charles Rosa is another good underdog pick, but I can't pick him personally. Give me Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood's a really good fighter. I mean, he looked amazing against John Castaneda. And John Castaneda recently got a huge win. I think it was over Marcelo Rojo. But then he lost to Casey Kenny. But Casey Kenny's a borderline top 15 fighter. He lost to John Dodson about 2.5 years ago. I mean, not really the greatest look either, actually. Maybe Charles Rosa ain't the worst pick in the world. I mean, he took a catchweight bout against Casey Kenny. Both guys weighed in at 140. He didn't miss weight by 4 pounds. But he's going up a weight class. He's going up to 145. He's 5'6", so he's not going to be the biggest 145-pound fighter. I believe like Volkanovski is 5'6", 5'7" anyway, so it's not that bad. But Charles Rosa is going to be a bit bigger. He lost to TJ Brown. It's not really a good look at the moment because TJ Brown doesn't look that great in his last fight, or just showed bad fight IQ. Damon Jackson's a really good prospect. Nah, give me Nathaniel Wood. I'm confident in Nathaniel Wood at the moment anyway. Nathaniel Wood decision. I don't know what I was thinking with Rosa there. Mark Diakasey versus Damir Hadzovic. Mark Diakasey, I can't believe he beat Vyacheslav Borshev. Honestly, like Vyacheslav Borshev, I was so high on Vyacheslav Borshev, man. I actually rewatched my prediction video of him and his Dana White's Contender Series opponent. That's Borshev it is. And I didn't pick Borshev. I've been telling everyone I picked Borshev as a massive underdog on Dana White's Contender Series. I didn't. I actually picked Borshev's opponent. So I'm actually not really good at picking Borshev at all. But he beat Vyacheslav Borshev, out-wrestled him. But that's a pure striker, might I add. Vyacheslav Borshev is a pure striker. Not really much else to be fair, but a really good striker that is. He got submitted by Rafael Alves, which is a bad look in my opinion. Lost to Rafael Fiziev, which isn't a bad look at all. But I don't know, man. I'm just not that impressed with Damir Hadzovic's game, is what it kind of comes down to. Mark Diakasey, he doesn't really impress me the most either, but the fact that this is in London, he's going to have his whole crowd behind him. He's been there before. He fought Borshev 3 months ago. I don't think that was actually in London. I think it was the week before London card, but yeah, give me Mark Diakasey. I think he's going to beat Damir Hadzovic here. I mean, I'm just not that impressed with Damir personally. So, yeah, give me Diakasey. Give me him by decision. Alright, guys. I've got a controversial one. A very controversial one. He can't keep getting away with it. We can't let Paul Craig get beaten up and then get in a submission. We can't let that happen anymore. Volkan Oezdemir, man. He's my pick. I am picking Volkan Oezdemir to win this one here. I think I told someone that I was picking Volkan Oezdemir and they called me a Paul Craig hater. I'm not a Paul Craig hater. I just think that Volkan Oezdemir is going to win. Like, I like what Paul Craig's done. But you got to look at his losses, man. He's got 3 KO losses. I mean, he got knocked out by Alonzo Minifield. He got knocked out by Khalil Roundtree. He got knocked out by Tyson Pedro. And then, hey, man, he's really come back, though. You know what I mean? Like, he was getting beaten up by Nikita Krylov in his last one, got a submission. Jamal Hill, he was having a good fight with Jamal Hill, got a submission. Like, Volkan Oezdemir, I feel like people forget. I mean, maybe I'm going too far back in time. Maybe Volkan Oezdemir is not as good as he was, or maybe he just looked a lot better than he was. But Volkan Oezdemir came in off a split decision win off OSP, knocked out Misha Shirkinov in 30 seconds, knocked out Jimmy Manoa in 22 seconds, and then he got a title shot against Daniel Cormier, which is crazy to me. And then since then, he just hasn't been the same, you know what I mean? Split decision, lost to Dominic Reyes, And then he split decision win over Alexander Rakic, which is kind of robbery low key. But he was the guy that introduced Yuri Prochazka to the UFC, and he had a pretty good fight with him in the first rounds. Before he got knocked out, obviously. And honestly, guys, give me Volkanovski, because Paul Craig is really good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that's kind of, to me, like, what I kind of just think of him as is just a really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. But Paul Craig knows that he's really good at Jiu-Jitsu, and he knows that that's what his path to victory is, and I respect that out of Paul Craig. But I genuinely think Usman is gonna find the chin, man. And as to that one specific guy, I'm not a Paul Craig hater. I just think Volkanovski is gonna win. I don't think that Paul Craig can keep getting away with getting beaten up and then getting a submission off his back. He just can't. He can't keep getting away with it. Give me Volkanovski. Give me Volkanovski by KO. I know I'm in the minority, and I believe Usman is actually a pretty sizable favorite. Maybe because so many people are high on Craig, maybe we see the line close up a little bit, but I don't see Paul Craig being the favourite coming into the fight, to be fair. I think Usman is going to knock him out. I'm picking Usman, man. Now, Molly McCann versus Hannah Goldie. Not going to lie, I feel like they're really trying to make Molly McCann a star. She's 32 years old. She probably isn't going to fight for too much longer. Women's fighters do tend to retire a little bit earlier than the men's fighters, and that's just kind of truthful, I feel. I mean, we've got like exceptions like Sarah McMahon, who's like almost 42 years old and still fighting, but yeah, Molly McCann won by a crazy spinning KO over Luana Carolina, which is pretty cool. She beat Ji-Yeon Kim, which is aged pretty well, to be fair. I know Ji-Yeon Kim has lost since then, but Ji-Yeon Kim had a really good fight with Priscilla Cachoeira, potentially got robbed as well. But yeah, I feel like Molly McCann's just going to beat Hannah Goldie here by decision. I don't really know what else to say, but I'm just not all that impressed with Hannah Goldie's game. She beat Emily Mitwire by submission in the first round, which I picked, by the way. Just saying. I said Hannah Goldie submission first round, but hey, anyway. Yeah, I'm not that impressed by Hannah Goldie. She's got an OnlyFans. Not that it really changes my pick at all, but give me Molly McCann to win this one. I think that she's just a better fighter. I mean, it's women's MMA, guys. I suck at predicting women's MMA. And this is a fight that I'm not confident in at all. I don't actually know what the odds are. I feel like they've got to be 50-50 like the Tapology votes. But I'm actually going to go with Krylov here. I think it's a cool fight. I like the fact that Krylov is getting the opportunity to fight Gustafsson in his return to 205. But Gus, I don't know. Like, he went up to 265 for Fabricio Verdum. I know I butchered his name. Fabricio Verdum got submitted, man, and then he got submitted by Anthony Smith. He got ground and pounded by John Jones. I believe that was the second fight there. He's got really good wins. Like, he's got a win over former champions Glover Teixeira and Jan Blachowicz. I think I brought that up in the last time this fight was booked, or the other fight that Gustafsson was booked in. But I mean, recently the thing with Gus is I don't know how big he is. Like, how much weight does he actually have to cut? Because he was booked somewhat recently against Ben Rothwell before Ben Rothwell got cut from the promotion. He was booked against a fight with Ben Rothwell, 2 months ago. So I don't know how big Gus is. Gus was preparing for a heavyweight fight. Now he's going to be fighting at 205. I don't know how much weight he put on for that heavyweight fight in particular, but he weighed in at 240 against Verdum, but that was 2 years ago. So yeah, I just don't really know what to expect out of this one. I know what to expect in a kid Krylov because I've seen his fights, obviously. But I don't know what to expect out of Gustafsson. That's the truth of it. He hasn't fought for 2 years, and even then, it was at heavyweight, and then he hasn't fought for 3 years at 205. I feel like there's just too many question marks here for me to pick him. Prime versus Prime, Gustafsson definitely beats Nikita Krylov 100%. But I just don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it. I think Nikita Krylov should win. I don't think he finishes it though. I think Krylov's decision is what I'm gonna lean, but as you can tell, I'm not confident at all. Let's just move on to the next one. Let's go with Paddy the Baddie. I'm getting way too hyped for this video, man. It's so embarrassing that. Anyway, so Paddy the Baddie versus Jordan Levitt. So guys, just imagine the scenes if Jordan Levitt knocks Paddy the Baddie out and then starts twerking on him in London. Oh my god, that would be crazy. But both guys are really good, man. Paddy Pimlet really does concern me though, because you can see Darren Till's getting injured a lot, because Darren Till is fighting and then he's taking time off, he's getting out of shape, and then he's training to fight again, and then he's getting injured. I'm really worried that Paddy Baddy, that's going to happen to him, because I know a lot of people, well, just one person in particular in my comment section when he made his UFC debut said when he was on the regional scene, Paddy Pimblett wasn't really taking it too seriously. He was out partying, you know, in between the fights. You know, he wasn't super laser focused on fighting, and I can kind of believe that. You know, like, you see the lifestyle that Paddy Pimblett is living. Like, good for him. He's obviously having a great time, but I mean, to be the best of the best of the best, I feel like you've kind of got to have that laser focus. And I don't know. I'm picking Paddy Pimblett to win this fight. I do think he's a lot better on the feet than Jordan Levitt. Jordan Levitt really isn't the best striker in the world, and I think that's maybe why they've made this this fight. Jordan Levitt does have good jiu-jitsu, he does have good grappling himself as well, good wrestling. He submitted Matt Sales, and Matt Sales' return, I believe, to 155 or something like that. He beat Trey Ogden by split decision. I thought he won 2 rounds, in my opinion. Beat Matt Wyman by slam TKO in his debut in like 40 seconds, which is pretty cool, but Claudio Blaydes is not a bad loss to have on your record either. But Paddy Pimblett, you know, he come into the UFC, didn't look amazing against Luigi Vendramini until he did, until he KO'd Luigi Vendramini. And then he submitted Rodrigo Vargas, who's not even in the UFC anymore. Luigi Vendramini isn't even in the UFC anymore, I don't think. Give me Paddy Pimblett. I'm not super confident in it though, and I am actually going to go with Paddy Pimblett KO. Just because Jordan Levitt really is not a good striker at all. I think Jordan Levitt's going to try and make the fight quote-unquote boring. I think he's going to try and take Paddy Pimblett down. I think he's going to try and look for ground control and sort of stuff like that, you know. You know what I mean? I feel like he's going to look to take Paddy Pimblett down. I think he's going to look to try and put Paddy Pimblett on his back. Paddy Pimblett's a really good grappler though. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's got a lot of submissions as well, but he does have good stand-up himself, and I think it's a lot better than Jordan Levitt's stand-up. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of game plan Jordan Levitt's going to try and implement here. I do believe he's going to look to wrestle Paddy Pimblett, and maybe there's a good underdog pick there. I'm going to be very interested to see how many people actually pick Jordan Levitt, but I do believe Paddy Pimblett is going to win this one. And but if Jordan Levitt wins, imagine the scenes. Jack Hermanson versus Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis actually opened as an underdog, but now he's the favorite. I think the line's flipped. I'll be looking into that in my breakdown video. Sorry guys, got hiccups, man. This is really awkward. But Chris Curtis, man, I think Rodolfo Vieira shot 20 takedowns on Chris Curtis, and Chris Curtis defended all of them. That was a week and a half ago, you know. But Chris Curtis on short notice is a mythical fighter. He made his UFC debut against Phil Hawes on short notice. You know, he's going to fight him on 1 day's notice, which is insane to me. But Phil Hawes didn't want that, so they fought a few weeks later. He knocked out Phil Hawes. He fought Brendan Allen on short notice, like a week later, like 2 weeks later. Knocked him out in the second round, and he had a full training camp against Rodolfo Vieira, a very dangerous grappler. Defended all of his takedowns, looked pretty good on the feet with good boxing. That's pretty impressive in my opinion. You know, Jack Hermanson, a good grappler, but not the greatest wrestler in the world. I think that we may be seeing, not necessarily a full repeat, but somewhat of a repeat of Rodolfo Vieira versus Chris Curtis. I think Chris Curtis is going to defend all the takedowns from Jack Hermanson. I think he's going to beat him up on the feet. That's genuinely what I think. And I do think Chris Curtis is going to win this fight, man. Chris Curtis on short notice is a mythical fighter. This guy is built so different, and he's also put on a lot of weight as well. If you actually look at his UFC debut, when he was fighting at 170 on the regional scene, he fought upper weight class against Phil Hawes at 185. He didn't look like a 185er. And then he made his second fight in the UFC against Brendan Allen. He looks a little bit bigger, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, still a 170 pounder fighting at 185. And now he's fully made the commitment to 185. He's looking huge in there. He looks really big against Rodolfo Vieira. He's really filled out for 185. And now he's fighting Jack Hermanson, a really good ranked opponent. I believe he actually is in the top 10 of the UFC rankings. So I think Chris Curtis could find himself in the top 10 at the end of the next weekend. So that's pretty awesome, man. But Jack Hermanson's got a really good win over Calvin Gastelum, which is cool. I think maybe if Chris Curtis beats Jack Hermanson, he should call out Calvin Gastelum. Just saying, that would be a pretty cool fight. But yeah, man, Chris Curtis. Short notice, Chris Curtis is a mythical fighter, guys. He's a mythical fighter. He's something else. So give me Chris Curtis, and I genuinely do believe he's going to get the KO as well, like a lot of fans think. And I think we're going to see a KO in the second or the third round. I think if the fight does leave the first, but I think we see Chris Curtis put it on in the second and third round, and we see him get a KO. He didn't have the greatest cardio, though. I mean, he was slowing down quite a bit in that third round, so maybe the third round KO pick is a bit of a dumb one, but I can trust Chris Curtis here. I do believe he's going to win by TKO at some point in the fight. Now, Curtis Blaydes versus Tom Espinel. What are we doing for time? I feel like this is a very long video. It's 24 minutes. Holy, okay. Alright, sorry for talking so much, guys. Damn. But anyway, I'm picking Tom Espinel. Initially, I was on Curtis Blaydes because I do believe Curtis Blaydes is a special prospect. I do believe that Curtis Blaydes is a almost a nightmare matchup for Tom Espinel, honestly, because Curtis Blaydes is such a good wrestler, but he didn't really look to wrestle at all. That's not why I'm not picking him at all though. But he didn't look to wrestle at all against Chris Dalkhouse. He tried to make a statement, but that's Chris Dalkhouse, you know. The difference between Chris Dalkhouse and Tom Espinel, you just got to think about it like this. What do you think Tom Espinel would do to Chris Dalkhouse? Because I think he would knock him out within 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Jairzinho Rosenstrike versus Tom Espinel potentially could be a different situation because Jairzinho Rosenstrike's a really good striker, but Tom Espinel, once again, I do believe he beats him too, but really do have to think about it like this though. What do you think Tom Espinel would do to Chris Dalkhouse? You know what I mean? I think Tom Espinel is going to find a KO over Curtis Blaydes, and I'll go the second round, you know, and he's already had this huge pressure. He's already headlined a London card, and he shined against Alexander Volkanov. He finished him, I believe, in the first round by submission, which is pretty awesome. In my opinion, you know, like, Tom Aspinall's such a special prospect, and he's so good, and he's only 29 years old for heavyweight. You know, Curtis Blaydes is pretty young too, and 3 of his losses, think of it like this though, Curtis Blaydes has only ever lost to the best of the best. You know, he got knocked out by Derek Lewis. He got knocked out twice by Francis Ngannou. That's his 3 losses, you know. Derek Lewis still a pretty somewhat competitive top 5 fighter, and Francis Ngannou, obviously the champion at the moment. I do think that, I don't know, it was a very competitive fight with Garner is all I'm going to say, but give me Aspinall by KO, man. I do think Curtis Blaydes is going to look to wrestle, and maybe he can wrestle for 5 rounds against Aspinall, but I think Aspinall's going to keep it on the feet. I don't know like how good he's going to be able to defend some of the takedowns of Curtis Blaydes. I do believe he's going to get Tom Aspinall down at one point at least. But yeah, Tom Aspinall on the feet, man, is going to be awesome to watch against Blaydes, in my opinion. So give me Tom Aspinall to beat Curtis Blaydes by KO in the second round. So, and I don't think that pick's going to change, by the way. I'm pretty sure I'm going to ride with Tom Aspinall all the way. I don't think there's any chance of that pick changing. I'm pretty confident in Chris Curtis. I don't think that pick's going to change. I don't think my Paddy Pimlet pick's going to change. This could change, maybe. I don't think my Molly McCann pick will change. Maybe this pick will change. This pick won't change. Maybe this pick will change. I don't think it will, though. This pick might change again as well. This pick won't change. I'm on Makayev all the way. This won't change. This won't change. This won't change. And this might change. So there's a few picks that might change. A few fights I'm not super confident in, but hey man, I'm so hyped for this card, man. I'm so sorry that's a half an hour video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you in the breakdown, man. But I will be making Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev video tomorrow. Let's go, man. I'm so excited for that fight. I'm so excited. If you guys don't know, man, Artem MMA Analysis, also a part-time Charles Oliveira fan page. I'll see you in the next one. I love Charlie Olives, man, but I also love UFC. I love UFC Fight Night London. This is going to be such a good one. 4 a.m. my time, so I get to watch the cards before I go to work. It's actually perfect. It's actually beautiful. I'll see you in the next one. Catches.